Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. As you guys know, I'm a finance professor. I've been teaching college students for a long time, and I have also seen a lot of students benefit tremendously from going to school. I've seen a lot of students lose from going to school, and so one of the questions I received not too long ago was, you know, how do you know how much student loan debt should you take on for a college degree? Well, first and foremost, what you major in makes a big difference. The harder sciences, the clearer skills like engineering, some areas of business like accounting, things like that, those are pretty clear in terms of allowing you to pick up additional real relevant skill that will make somebody want to hire you or will give you the ability to start your own business. Which entrepreneurship, by the way, is the quickest way to. If you become a really, 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 really good entrepreneur, that's the easiest way to make a lot of money and pay your debt off and all that stuff. That's my biggest recommendation. Like if I could do it all over again and go back in time, I would literally just become an entrepreneur. I don't even know. I would rather have been a great entrepreneur than even gotten my PhD. My PhD was great, but I took on a lot of debt in order to get there, just like everybody else. And I think that there have been other better ways for me to learn what I need to learn. I went to school because I wanted to make money. I didn't go to school because I just wanted to sit around and learn and read. I could do that at home, right? I went to school because I wanted to get a piece of paper that would help me make more money, because back at that time, all I knew was go to school, get a good job. That way you can make more money one day and you're going to be better. Knowing what I know now, I wouldn't have done that. I would have taken a different path. I'm just going to be honest with you. But that does not mean college is a waste of time. It can be a good investment, but you got to think about it like an investment, which means you got to think about it like an investor. Given that most of us don't have a lot of financial literacy training, we don't think of education the way an investor would. We think of it as, okay, college must happen by any means necessary. It doesn't matter what I major in. It doesn't matter how much debt I take on. That's mistake number one. Mistake number two, and mistake number three, right? Mistake number one, believing that you have to go to college to make more money. Not true. A lot of people that have skills, plumbers, carpenters, etc., masonry people, they can make more money than college graduates. Entrepreneurs, a lot of them. I have a lot of entrepreneurial friends who make 10 times more than they would have made if they went to college. Not saying that college is a waste, but college is not a necessity. Number two, the idea that it doesn't matter what you major in. It's not true. It does matter very much. You go to college and you borrow $200,000 for a degree in English literature, you are financially screwed. So the only way to get out of that hole is, take your English literature degree, read books on the weekend, maybe write your best novel, and if you don't get lucky enough to get a bestseller, go start a business, maybe start a publishing company and sell your novels and get your income up so you can pay that debt. Number three, the idea that it doesn't matter how much debt you take on, not true, not true, not true. It does matter. It's very, very important to pay attention to that, or that'll get you in big trouble, because if you take on too much debt, too much good debt becomes bad debt. Dave Ramsey talks about debt, and he doesn't seem to make a strong distinction between good debt and bad debt, in my opinion. There is a such thing as good debt and bad debt, but too much good debt becomes bad debt. When you can't pay the debt back, it doesn't matter if it was for a good purpose. It becomes bad debt. So here's one more thing you may want to use as a rule of thumb to help you know how much debt you should take on to get a degree. So let's say that I'm thinking about going to get a master's degree, and the master's degree costs me $30,000 a year, and let's say I got to borrow 60 grand to pay for this master's degree. 60 grand plus, let's say another 60 for living expenses, right? So I live off 30 and I go to school with 30, but don't forget also that let's say I'm making 30 grand before I go back to school, so I'm giving up 60 grand to go to school. So you got 2 years you're not working, so 60 plus 60 plus 60, that's $180,000 that you're borrowing, plus 2 years of your life, which you can value at any price you want, but 180 grand that you're borrowing to basically start a business. The business is you. You're investing in you. Investing in you is good as long as you make sure that you are a good investment. What does that mean? Well, imagine if you buy a business for $180,000. What kind of business would you be looking for? Would you be looking for a business that doesn't make you any more money than you're making right now? No. Right? So if you go borrow $180,000 to get a degree, or you give up 180 grand of your family wealth to get a college degree, and you can't get a job, then you lose, right? If you go get a college degree, in fact, I got these little cool sound effects. I can actually pick a sound effect that I think will go with this. So let me see here. I'm gonna pull this up real quick. So if you go to college, and let me see if I can find a cool sound. Here we go. Bummer. This is a good one. Hold on, give me a second, guys. Here we go.
Self-destruct sequence activated.
How about that?
Bummer.
All right, there we go. We'll use the bummer dude. So if you go to school and you oh, here we go.
No!
There we go. That's good. I like that. I like how you guys like that. Tell me what you think about this. Okay. So if you go to school and you borrow or you give away 180 grand, remember 60 plus 60 plus 60, and you don't make more money than you were making before, the answer is
No!
it was not a good decision. Not a good decision. If you now let's say that you go to school and it increases your income, right? So let's say that without a degree you'd be making say 30,000, but your degree increases your income to say 50,000. Well, what does that mean? That's an extra 20,000 a year plus probably a higher growth rate in income, but an extra 20,000 a year you're earning as a result of having this degree. So then that's the question you must ask yourself. If I bought a business for 180 grand and it was making me 20 grand a year, would that be a worthy investment? Well, some people might say, okay, well, you're earning, about 12, 13% per year on your investment. That's not terrible. That's not a horrible decision. But the problem is that a lot of people can't get out of the student loan debt because they never actually accumulate enough wealth or enough income to pay off that old debt. So you're not quite like a business because you're not liquid. You can't go back and sell the asset and get all the debt back, right? You can't sell yourself, right? So what happens is that you're trying to pay off the debt with just the cash flow from the business. The business is you, right? And that's where a lot of people get stuck. So really, even making that like that extra, 60% income bump, that still is going to make it tough to handle that $180,000 that you gave away. Now remember, out of the $180,000 you gave away, only about let's say 120 of that is student loan debt. Remember, you borrowed 60 for school, you had 60 for living expenses. So let's say you borrowed that too, right? So you owe 120. The other 60 you lost is opportunity cost. So that doesn't cost you anything. That's just money you did not make, right? So you've got 120 in debt. You've got, and you're making an extra 20 grand a year. Some would say that that's not a terrible investment. I would almost say though, to be safe, you want to go a little bit higher. So maybe if you're making an extra 30 grand a year and you were disciplined enough to chop off, say 10 grand of that 30 every year, then you could pay off that 120,000 in debt in about 13, 14, 15 years. The interest rates on student loan debt are not very high. So student loan debt is not always a bad thing. It's just a bad thing if you do it in a bad way, right? So the key idea is this. Here's the basic idea. I know I use a stupid sound effect.
No!
So there we go. So and most of the time when it comes to debt, that's gonna be my answer. But I will say debt can be a wonderful thing if you use it in the right way. So that means that whatever amount of debt you take on from school, I would argue that a person's income jump as a result of that degree should probably be an amount that, in my opinion, is about maybe, I'm gonna go with, let me think this through. I'm gonna go with the amount of extra income you make relative to your debt should probably be about 40% of the debt, 30 to 40% of the debt. That's what I'm gonna say. So what would that mean? That would mean that if you go let's say 100,000 in debt, that you'd want to make an extra $30,000 to $40,000 a year to justify that $100,000 debt that you just took on, because you basically have a mortgage now but you don't have a house yet, which means you got to pay off the first house, which is your student loan debt, before you can even get to the second house, or pay off a big chunk of it, or at least make sure your payments are on time. And where black students are getting into trouble, black college graduates are, is that they're not able to pay off their student loans, and it's really killing them. It's causing black wealth to drop to zero by the year 2053 because that black wealth has become white wealth. So I hope that this makes sense. Feel free to put your comments in here and your questions, and let me know what you think about my side effects or my sound effects. I'm thinking about adding them into the class. You guys can tell me what you think if I should add them to my into the podcast. But they got cool sounds like this. Like I got a toilet. Here's one that says apologize. I'll play this one. Check this out.
I apologize for nothing.
Here's another one.
I hate you all so much.
I don't hate you guys, but
Get back to work, you slacker.
there we go. That's probably the one I need to listen to now. So I'm about to go to the Fraser Net conference. So you guys take care. Don't forget, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. If you want to learn to buy your first share of stock, go to blackmoney100.com, blackmoney100.com. Also, I'll be in New Orleans for 2 days, so you can go to drboyceneworleans.com to join us at our business summit, or you can go to drboycechicago.com, which is where we're going to be July 28th. So I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Have a good day. Be good. Peace.